Hello, friends, and welcome to another edition of the TV is Our Real Mom podcast. I'm your host, Dave, and as always, I'm joined by my co-host, my sister, Katie. Katie, how you doing?
Doing well. Ready to talk some Game of Thrones?
That's right. In this edition, we will be discussing Game of Thrones Season 7, Episode 5. And Katie, what are your initial thoughts on the episode?
There's a lot of pretty awesome moments. There's a little moments that have me worried and scared and afraid.
Afraid.
But there's also stuff to be pretty pumped about, I think. I mean, at the beginning of the episode, there's no way you could have told me this episode would have ended with Jon Snow, the Hound, Thoros, Beric, Gendry, Jorah, and Davos. Is that I'm missing somebody?
You see seven
Anyway,
fingers.
Torment. All of those 7 people together going out beyond the wall. Like, I had no idea that's where we were headed, but I liked it. I don't know why this happened, but I enjoyed it.
Right. I mean, you have such an opportunity here to put together a badass ensemble. Yeah. And they just saw an opportunity. I think they went for it, and I like it. It's definitely
I don't think they're going to remain intact for long, but it's cool now. The ending of that episode is pretty cool.
Yeah. Do you anticipate like several of these people dying in the upcoming episode, or
I don't like to there's lists out there about who's most likely to die, who's least likely to die. Like, I don't like to go there. I feel like this is Game of Thrones. This is a group of 7 of our most awesome characters together on a very dangerous and stupid mission. So they're not all gonna come back, I don't think.
Yeah, I mean, the show has set such a precedent of characters have to die all the time. But do we really need that? Like, are you okay with all 7 of these guys just coming back totally fine? Or at least maybe just injured and not dead?
I'm okay with what could happen is someone could die and be brought back because Thoros and Beric Dondarrion are there. I mean, if Jon or Beric dies, I don't think anyone else could be resurrected.
Isn't Beric the guy that's been resurrected like a million times?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
What's one more time?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like,
oh yeah, so
he could very easily die and be brought back, or he might die and be like, that's it, I'm done.
Does he have the ability to say that after he dies? Like, I'm done.
Yeah, you're right. Probably not. But maybe like while he's dying, he can be like, look, you've done this enough. Maybe he and Jon die at the same time, and he's like, you need to bring Jon back, not me. Because Beric implied in the first episode of the season that he's here for a reason. Why he keeps being brought back to life. There's got to be a purpose. I think we might see the fulfillment of that purpose in this episode.
Oh, okay.
The upcoming episode. I'm sorry, not the one we just watched, but in episode 6 next week.
Right.
But however awesome this band of whatever you want to call them, Avengers, the Magnificent Seven, whatever, this is the dumbest reason for them to be together that I've ever heard of, right?
Okay, explain. I'm not sure.
Their plan, it seems like this is this epic mission, but their plan is to go capture a White Walker, or a White.
A White? What's a White?
Not the main guys, the dead people they bring back to life.
Oh, like White, W-I-G-H-T or something like that? Okay, yeah, that makes sense. I heard people saying a white, and I was like, oh, are they just calling them whites now? Like W-H-I-T?
No, it's not the same thing. It's a homonym. It's not the same thing as a White Walker, which is confusing.
Right. Yeah. Okay, I got you now. Yeah, I find this whole thing pretty dumb. Yeah, it's because really, I mean, everyone's already said this. I have the same thought. Yeah, I'm piling on. Same thought as everyone else. Why not just take one person, one dragon? It only takes like one or two guys to capture one of these things. Why? And the previews are showing these guys like going into an epic battle. It's like, why are they even fighting in the first place? Isn't the whole idea just to capture one?
That's why I think this whole the reason is so dumb because they're going to get out there and something grander is going to take place. And it's going to move beyond their stupid plan. Because the other stupid part of this plan is they could bring the most terrifying dead white that suddenly pops back to life. And Cersei's going to be like, why do I give a shit? I don't care. Like, that's the other part of their plan. It's so stupid on both levels.
Right. I mean, and how do they even feel comfortable, like, having a meeting with Cersei where that's not going to result in them just getting murdered by her, you know?
And
like
also, like, her personal bodyguard is a dead guy, so she's going to be like, so what? I've seen it before. Like, show me something I don't know.
Right.
She does not care.
Right. I guess they are banking on the fact that she doesn't believe that there's a undead army marching down on them. And what is their hope here? I'm still confused about that too. Are they really trying to get Cersei to join forces with them? Is that what's happening? Or what is the goal?
I think they want her to call an armistice so that
they leave us alone so we can take care of business.
Yeah, because right now Jon and Dany are like dividing their attention. Like, if they get Cersei to like call an armistice, which is like a temporary truce, I don't know the official definition, but then they can really focus their attention on the White Walkers. Then they continue their own petty wars, or maybe they'll be like bonded by then and they'll just come to a peace agreement.
Yeah, like, no, neither one of those two is going to give up the throne, Cersei or Dany. So, like, there's no peace that can be had. The whole plan is just it's super dumb. Yeah.
Well, I don't think they're thinking that far ahead. They're looking for a temporary thawing in the wars right now,
just so they can take care of this.
Yeah.
Right.
But I feel like it's a plot device to get something else to happen. Because Jon, with his companions and the Night King, like, something's going to go down. They've met before. Like, it's got to elevate. You know what I mean? It can't just be the same as the last time they met where the guy raised his hands. It's got to be something greater than that, you know? Otherwise, Like, why are they meeting again?
So what do you think that is?
Like, maybe the Night King tries to kill Jon and something stops him, or he sees Jon come back to life by fire instead of by ice, which is how the Night King brings people back to life, is through coldness and ice, whereas Jon is brought back by fire.
Right. I never thought of that. That makes a lot of sense as far as, consistency, because, his whole army is brought back to life with ice, and the what do you call their Lord of Light or whatever?
Yeah.
That's like a fire god, so it's kind of like two opposing supernatural
and you
forces.
Have the Brotherhood still in the books. I don't know what the Brotherhood is doing. I mean,
like, what's the purpose?
The books, but like, they've kept the Brotherhood around. They've got the Hound, who's got this deathly fear of fire, yet he can read the flames, apparently. You've got a fire priest, and you have Beric with a flaming sword. There's a lot of fire in this group of people. And I feel like Dany might show up. That's my prediction, is that Dany's going to be like waiting in her castle. Like, clearly she's got some connection to Jon. She didn't really want him to leave. So I feel like you might see her come in and like save the day or something. And obviously she's bringing firepower. So I don't know.
No, that's a good theory. I think you could see Dany like stewing in her castle, like, just worrying about Jon. She's like worried about him, and then she shows up with a dragon or something.
And then it kills two birds with one stone. She sees obviously that it's a real threat, and then they can go forward from there.
Yeah, I don't know. I still feel like it's too early to like bring the dragons attacking the undead army, because that's like, to me, that was like the end game of the books. But maybe I was wrong about that all along. And like,
that's true. That's a good point. Like, dragons and White Walkers already?
Yeah, I thought that was the end. To me, in my mind, that was the end. But, I don't know what the end is. Maybe that like, they're going to get this like undead army stuff out of the way so we can have as an ending more of like character resolution and like the battle for the throne and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Maybe they're going to get that out of the way sooner
than there's probably a few surprises in store for us. We're all assuming it's going to go a certain way. Maybe it's not.
Sure. What do you think of having Gendry back here? Were you spoiled
Oh,
on that? I mean, like, did you know that?
unfortunately, yeah, because I saw that he was at the premiere. I was like, oh, I guess they're not even trying to hide that fact that he's coming back. So I knew he was going to come back this season. But I was still super excited to have him back. I've been waiting. Everybody's been waiting a really long time. You know what annoyed me, though, is that when he meets Jon Snow, he's like, oh, or no, I saw your father. Yeah. They talked about their fathers. Not like, hey, I was besties with your sister for like 3 years. That didn't get mentioned.
Yeah, he never even brought up Arya. Did he know that about Arya? When did that?
He knew.
At some
Okay,
point,
he knew Jon's father was Ned Stark, and he knew Arya's father was Ned Stark.
right. So connect the dots, right?
Come on, Gendry. I know you're just a blacksmith, but
Yeah, I feel like that's just an oversight on the part of the show then. Like they just forgot to they totally forgot about that connection.
right. But other than that, I thought it was really cool to have Gendry back. Anytime Davos gets screen time is pretty cool. Davos is like one of the best characters in my opinion. And for him to go get him and then for Gendry to have the hammer was a nice touch.
That was like my favorite part, I think, is that what's his dad's name? Robert Baratheon.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, his main weapon was a hammer.
Yeah.
And for them to have Gendry forge his own hammer and then like to get to see him use it right away, even though it was like pretty telegraphed that that's what was coming. I still really enjoyed the
twirliness.
Yeah, like how the hammer was just sitting in the boat and you're just waiting for him to use it, and they kind of build it up a little bit, and then he just smashes faces.
Smashes them in. Yeah, I thought it was funny that he and Jon were bonding over like how their dads were friends, when we know that actually Robert's dad murdered Jon's real dad with a hammer, just like the one he has.
Yeah, essentially. That's
But they don't know that. And even if he did know that, I mean, like even when Jon finds out his real dad is Rhaegar, it's not going to like replace Ned Stark. You know what I mean? Like Ned Stark's the one who raised him.
Yeah, so, I think he'll always look at Ned Stark as his father, but yeah, I think he will still also identify with the Targaryens, like once he knows where he really comes from, you know. So yeah, that kind of brings up the bombshell that Gilly drops on us.
Gilly of all people.
Unknowingly. I mean, she's just reading nonchalantly out of a book. But what does this mean exactly? So that it means that like Jon Snow is not a bastard.
He's not a bastard. No,
like,
he was.
It's official. It's legit, is what.
Yeah, right? He is the official trueborn son of Rhaegar Targaryen and Lyanna Stark, because Rhaegar had his marriage to Elia annulled and then married. They don't say, but you know, if you know what's going on at all, you know that it was Lyanna that he married.
So does that mean he has more of a claim to the throne than Dany?
Yeah, I mean, I guess so. But the way I think about it, it's like, okay, maybe he does have a claim, but the Targaryens were overthrown. So, like, really, the truer claim now, this is just me playing devil's advocate, but the truer claim is like a trueborn son of a Baratheon, a la a Gendry, who's a bastard, but he could be legitimized. And maybe that's what's going to happen. Dany dies. I'm just guessing. Dany dies somehow. Jon doesn't want to be king, so he legitimizes Gendry, and Gendry becomes the king of the whatever, Seven Kingdoms.
Right, and we're back where we started at the beginning of the book.
With the Baratheon on the throne. That's a little disappointing, isn't it?
But
no, actually, he'll maybe make him Lord of the Stormlands, like, or whatever, like the Baratheons were before he became king. Legitimize him, give him his own castle. Someone else will be king.
Yeah, I can see that. But yeah, it sure seems like, you know, Dany is using her claim to the throne like quite heavily, and now it's completely moot, right? It's her whole she's been using that, and it's not a thing anymore. She can't.
Jon's claim is better than hers.
As soon as they find out, you know, who Jon is, and like when is that going to happen? You know. And how many people are going to know, and who's going to share it, and who's all going to be let in on this information?
Yeah, I know we only have 2 episodes left, but I really hope like some of this crap is a little bit laid on the table. You know what I mean? Like, can we have John find out about this season so we don't have to wait 2 freaking years or whatever to see his reaction to it? Like, please, can we at least have somebody find out the truth?
I really don't think this show should wait as long as 2 years to wrap things up. I mean, as huge as this show is, I think you do run the risk when you wait that long of people like losing interest. They have
I don't know what the official date is. I've just heard 2019 thrown about.
Right. I mean, it's got to be January or they're like
It better be.
I really think they're messing with fans. Fans will not be pleased.
Yeah,
I
they
don't
run
know.
the risk of George R.R. Martin actually having a book out before then.
Right, and having a completely different ending, possibly. So,
well, it wouldn't be the last book, I don't think.
I still think he's probably writing the last 2 books at the same time for what do you call it? Consistency. So he doesn't release book 6 with a bunch of inconsistencies with book 7. So I do think once 6 comes out, they're going to be close together somewhat.
Well, you're a lot more optimistic than most of the fan base.
Well, I'm not optimistic that he's going to finish at all. I'm just talking about his process, like I could see it. Okay, that's why it's taking him longer. And that's why book 7, you can be optimistic about it coming out faster. Because if I was him, I would probably want to make sure the 2 books are consistent. Thus, not just release 6 without knowing, I might need to adjust some things to jive with 7. But yeah, that's just.
But I mean, I don't understand what you mean consistent. Like the book that comes after it will be consistent with the one that came before it. That's how the previous books have worked.
Yeah, I guess you kind of write, and you should know this. You're a better writer than I am. You kind of write with the end in mind. So, like, if there's something he needs to plant in book 7 that he hadn't thought of yet, he needs to put the seeds of that in book 6 potentially. So,
well, he's been putting the seeds of it, hopefully, in all the books that have been out up to this point.
Right. Of course. I'm just saying, there's got to be a little bit of that going on, right?
Yeah, I suppose.
I'm very much speculating. I'm just making stuff up. So
okay.
Anyways, let's talk more about the episode. We talked about Gilly dropping the bomb.
Did Sam grab that book? I hope because they left. He left the Citadel. He's gone. I don't know where he's going. And he grabbed a bunch of books. I really, really hope he grabbed the book Gilly was reading.
Yeah, me too. Because that seems important.
Yeah.
Maybe she brought it.
She seemed to like it. Yeah, probably brought it.
She was in the middle of reading it. Like, what person do you know that leaves a good book behind when they're going to be on the road for a really long time? And
that's a good point.
Carriage,
Mm-hmm. Definitely.
Where is Sam going? Do you have any idea?
Well, he's still a member of the Night's Watch. He's maybe going back to the Wall.
He wants to go back to the Wall.
I said maybe he's going back to the Wall. The whole reason he went there was just to become a maester for the Night's Watch. I mean, he's not just going to suddenly start a life not at the Night's Watch.
Right. I mean, you have that great quote from him. Do you know it? Or do I have to look it?
I don't remember.
Well, something about like, I'm tired of... I don't want to read
about great men.
Yeah, I don't want to read about the great things men do. I want to be like involved in the adventure,
So maybe he's just going to John and being like, "Hey, what's up? Need some help?"
Right. Yeah. I mean, like you said, he's obviously not going to build a cabin in the woods and start a family or anything. He's going to be a part of the story.
Mm-hmm.
Have you heard that like George R.R. Martin identifies with Sam, that he sort of wrote himself into the books in a way through Sam? Have you heard this?
No, but I've heard him compared to Samwise Gamgee. Like he's writing the story. Like he's the one that's recording the story.
Oh, I can't remember where I heard this. Maybe I'm making this up, but I swear I heard that George R.R. Martin like identifies with Sam.
That makes sense.
I kind of wonder, just sort of curious, like, is this how like George R.R. Martin feels sometimes? He wishes he could participate more in the adventure of life instead of writing about it.
What he's been doing. instead of like writing the story that we all want, he's been out having adventures.
Right, like hookers and blow in Vegas, or
No, not that kind of adventure. Like the kind of
horseback riding
adventures
in the
and dragon riding
Venezuelan.
and such. Oh, also, we should probably talk about, not that there's much to say about it, but the moment with John and Danny's dragon was pretty cool.
Yeah, like once again, I'm just piling on. I have the same thoughts as everyone else. I don't know why we're even doing this.
Well, what other thought are you supposed to have other than he clearly has a bond with her dragon? What does it mean?
My thought was like, wouldn't she be a little nervous, like to pet? He has no hesitation. And I also,
don't you remember the scene with Tyrion where he unchained her other two dragons?
Tyrion did the same thing, kind of, didn't he?
Yeah, and he was scared, but he did it, and they let him. And those are the three people that have been able to touch the dragons.
Yeah, it's so odd to me that, yeah, but I guess that you're right, that sort of the meaning there is that they are Targaryens and thus, right. And we don't know for sure that Tyrion's a Targaryen, though.
I really hope he's not.
It's theorized that he is, isn't it?
It's very much theorized, but I feel like, oh, you're a Targaryen, I'm a Targaryen, everybody's a Targaryen.
Look under your chairs. Official Targaryen birth.
Dragon.
You get one.
You ride a dragon. You ride a dragon.
Yeah, and the other thought, same as everyone else, like, why is Dany landing right in front of Jon with her dragon and just like, hey, let me land right in front of you and see if he bites your head off? Like,
I'm not sure she meant to do that. I feel like she doesn't. I don't know. I feel like that was Drogon taking control.
Oh, so he's like, hey, there's one of my people. I'm gonna say hi.
I'm gonna go check him out. That's the impression I got, because Dany looked a little like weirded out. And then when she was like, they're my children, and Jon was like, okay, bitch.
Does she know? Does she know they're not her children? Okay. Anything else from that part of the world to talk about with Dany? I guess, like, you could comment on, how is Dany feeling about Jon? She obviously doesn't want him to leave. It's getting kind of romantic.
Yeah, I think there's that element is there.
It's like she longed for him to stay, like that sort of. She was pining. I don't know if that's.
No, I think you're right.
But it looked like she was really bummed he was leaving.
Yeah, I think so. She'd grown quite used to him, or whatever she said.
Right. I've grown quite used to you. Anything else from that world to talk about?
Other than Jorah coming back? He came back.
Yeah. That's friggin' sweet. I mean, like, how it really is an embarrassment of riches with the Magnificent Seven. It's like, throw Sir Jorah Mormont in there too. It's like, come on, man.
It got to a point when they went down to the dungeons and found the Brotherhood. It's like, I know you. Wait, I know you. I've seen you before. It was like, oh, well, there's too much happening right now. Too many reunions. But like none of the reunions are super significant, so it's like okay to blow past him. Other than maybe Gendry with the Brotherhood should be maybe a little bit more pissed than he was, but it's fine.
Well, I liked how, like, most of those characters believe in something.
Yeah.
And they were all trying to add significance to the moment, like, this is fate. And then the Hound's like, oh, like, shut up. Like, are we going or not? Like, he just like he's like, let's get to the point. We all know the question. Are we gonna do this or are we not? Let's say yes or no and let's go. He just like he stops it all right there. I like that.
That's why he's the best.
Right. He rules.
You better not die.
Yeah, I'd be pissed. I mean, we already lost him once. It's just another Glenn moment. So, let's see. Shall we talk about Sansa, Littlefinger, and?
Yeah, this is where my fear comes in. This is why I'm scared. I mean, I'm scared about the Beyond the Wall stuff because obviously someone cool is gonna die, but I'm also scared about Arya.
Okay, let's hear it. Let's hear what you think.
Okay, so when this whole scene was taking place, first of all, she's already got tension with her sister. With that scene where Arya is talking about how she can tell Sansa likes having the power. She didn't stick up for Jon, and Arya is judging her for that, and so there's tension there, and Littlefinger's trying to exploit it. And to me, for them to like portray Arya as stupid enough to fall for this is just as bad as what they did last season when they said she's stupid enough to get stabbed in the middle of the day in the gut by the waif. Like, that was just not something. Arya is not that stupid, but they wrote her in that moment as doing something that incredibly dumb. And if this is what it's on the face of it, if this is what's happening, if Arya's really this bad at following Littlefinger around and falling right into his trap, then I completely disagree with the show, the direction the show is taking her, because she's a freaking faceless man. She's a sneaky ass assassin, and she's standing there watching him in the light. She waits 2 seconds for him to leave and then does this loud picking of the lock. Like, she's not being coy, but she's not being quiet about it. Like, she's not this bad at this. I don't know why they're making it seem like she is.
Could it possibly be a con on top of a con? Like,
that's what I'm hoping, but it just brings me back to last season when I thought, oh, they're doing something smarter with this, and then they weren't.
Yeah, I mean, there's no way, right, that this is a con on Arya's part. I think she's obviously just falling for it.
If she's just falling for it, I'm going to be more pissed than if she is actually knows what she's doing.
Right. Can you elaborate at all on what the note said? Did you get a chance to pause it and read it at all, or?
It's the note that Sansa wrote to Robb, her brother, back in season 1. Cersei made her do it, saying that calling her father a traitor and asking Robb to bend the knee or whatever and call off whatever he was doing.
Okay, so that's what the note is. I didn't realize that's what it was from. Okay.
If Arya's dumb enough to get angry about something that happened at the very beginning of this story, before they had been through everything they'd been through, like, she hasn't. What was the point of going through what she went through? You know, right. I just don't believe it. I believe that Arya has something else planned, and on top of everything, she has Bran there to let her know what's actually going on.
Yeah. See, now that I know that clears things up a little bit for me, because I was under the impression that he had, Littlefinger had crafted some note that would make, like he made up his own note that said something, that would have the same effect, but he like crafted his own. You know what I'm saying?
Right. Mm-hmm.
But now that we know that this is a note that Sansa actually wrote, I feel like she can explain herself.
Well, even when Robb first got the note and Catelyn was there, he was like, or somebody said, this is Sansa's writing, but they're Cersei's words. Like, it's completely see-through. It's transparent. You know what's going on there. Like, Arya's not going to be that dumb. I'm praying she's not.
Well, I think Arya is going to be mad at Sansa initially, just like as a gut reaction.
Mm-hmm.
But I do think they're going to talk it out, and this is going to end up being worse for Littlefinger, because they're going to realize, Littlefinger wanted me to find this, and so what's he trying to do? And now they're going to be even more wary of Littlefinger, and I don't know, that's what I think's happening.
Okay, so that's kind of somewhere in the middle of the two options.
Yeah.
So like maybe she is falling for it, but then once she reads the note, like her face when she read the note was not like anger, sadness. It was just stoic. Okay, moving on.
Yeah, I think she is going to be mad at Sansa, like, for what it says, but they're going to talk it out. They're going to argue a little bit, but I think, ultimately they're just going to realize, Littlefinger's the bad guy here. His
plan just seems so obtuse to me. Like, so these girls are smarter than this.
But I feel like Littlefinger is too, so it's like it's confusing. Like
it seems desperate is what it is, and maybe that's all he could come up with because he's so freaked out by these Starks.
Right. Sansa's coming into her own, Bran with his creepy powers, and Arya with her
murdery ways.
So I don't know. We'll see what happens with that.
It better not piss me off.
It better not. So we lose the Tarly Tarly's family is dead.
How upsetting.
That's another thing is like Sam he wants adventure, but I mean, he's basically lord of the house now. He could he
That's
doesn't know it
true.
yet. He doesn't know it yet, but he could be king or whatever it
Yeah, if the
is.
dumb maester would have actually told him instead of like just keeping the information from him.
Right. Yeah,
That
the
was
maester
messed
will
up.
see Sam's gone. He's like, "Oh shit, I never
I
got to
never
tell
told
him
him.
that
What an
he's lord of the
ass.
manor."
Yeah. That scene was, excuse me, with the dragon on top of the hill. That was so cool.
Yeah, pretty sweet. Um what else we got in this episode?
Jamie and apparently swam like a mile away before coming up for air.
With armor on.
Yeah, well, Braun probably dragged him, but like they seemed to go kind of far. It
Yeah,
was just
that was interesting for
maybe they
sure.
came up for air before then, and that was just their last breath. Like I hope
Yeah.
so, because
Yeah, they were
there's no way.
probably swimming in and out of the water or something. I don't know. Does it really matter? Does stuff like that
No,
really
it
matter?
doesn't.
it's
But
it's once again, I mean, you have the same thing with the traveling stuff again. Like you
yeah,
got Davos traveling like all over the map in a matter of a day or two.
that's true.
Um
Literally, he went from
yeah,
King's or Dragonstone to King's Landing to Dragonstone to Eastwatch in
right.
one episode.
And everybody, is all up in arms about it. But I mean, once again, my stance on it is like, who cares, man? Like, who
Yeah, the only
cares?
thing it makes you think is that they didn't need to make this a shortened season. They could have done 10 episodes. Maybe it's a financial thing. But like if you're gonna get hung up on like I need to see that person on the road for 3 episodes, like that's not moving the plot along. We know what they're doing. They're going from here to there. Just get them there. Like you don't have to say how much time passes. Obviously, you're not supposed to believe they were in King's Landing one day and at Dragonstone one day, at Eastwatch the next. It obviously took some time. And
Right.
Dany said she's grown quite used to Jon. Obviously, he's been there a while. They've formed a relationship.
Right.
So,
Yeah, I was saying during the episode, like, how much I liked that, plans are being brought up in this episode. And then in the next scene, you already have that plan taking place. And I actually really like that. Like,
yeah, it's nice for once to be like, to kind of get on with it.
yeah, it's like we don't have to like remember the plan 3 episodes later. It's like they just talked about it and now it's happening. Like,
and you don't have to put like 3 months later. Like, I mean, if you do that every time they, go from here to there, it's like
just assume that a little time has passed and they're just moving faster. Time is moving faster. Okay, is that good? Good enough for you?
Good enough for me.
Okay. Yeah. So with Jamie, I think so. I was gonna say that. Yeah, I'm glad they didn't Glenn Jamie.
Yeah, they pretty much started right up with Jamie, so they very much did not Glenn that.
I appreciate that. I'm pretty okay with a cliffhanger, especially because they don't like drive it into the ground or like abuse it. I'm okay with the cliffhanger. But I am glad. I like when they resolve it right away. Don't leave us just like floundering.
The Glenn thing was so egregious because it was like visual trickery. They showed him underneath another person who was getting eaten, so you thought he was getting eaten. With Jamie, it was like, okay, he's falling into the water. That's what was happening. We just didn't see the resolution of it. Right,
yeah.
But there was also a Jamie and Tyrion reunion in this episode.
Reunion?
Is that what I said? My words aren't so good today. A reunion.
A reunion? Yeah. So, yeah, did we forget anything? Not sure.
Well, what did you think of the reunion?
Of Tyrion and Jamie?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the one thing we forgot, huh? Yeah. I don't know. I kind of liked more Bronn in that scene. I don't know, like just bringing them together.
I feel like it was too short.
Yeah, it didn't really do justice to their relationship, I guess.
Yeah, because it's been a long time. And their relationship has been very strained. Um, and
Honestly, I don't even remember the scene. Like, how did it go?
Jamie was
Like,
mad. Tyrion explained that their
right,
dad
like
was a dick,
he was gonna
and
have him killed. Like,
yeah,
what
it's
was
like
he
what
saying?
he was like. Was I supposed to just let him execute me? And then Jamie was like, "Well, yeah, okay, you're right."
Yeah. And then yeah, so what how did the conversation go between Jamie and Cersei again when they kind of go over?
She seemed like if this benefits us at the moment, we'll do it, but I don't think she's committing to anything. And then she told him she was pregnant.
Oh yeah, forgot about that. Do you believe her?
Okay, I don't know if I believe her, but if it is true, she's definitely going to die before that baby's born.
I
So it
mean,
doesn't matter.
it could go either way, right? Like she very well could be lying. Also,
Uh-huh.
like could be true. So
Yeah.
there's no way
The
to
only
tell.
thing it's so weird for me to think Jamie even gives a crap because he seemed to not give a crap about his other kids, except maybe Marcella when she died. It was kind of an emotional moment between her and Jamie, but um, other than that, he seemed to dislike his children.
Yeah, well,
But I
one of
think,
them was Joffrey, so
yeah, that's true. I'd be pretty embarrassed.
the another one was Tommen.
Maybe he had a better relationship with Tom, and I don't really remember. But anyway, it seems like he's a little too emotionally invested in this child, more than I thought he would have been.
Right.
Maybe
He's
it's
like,
because now he sees they can have a dynasty and it's not just the two of them. Maybe they.
yeah, yeah. No, I think that's what they're really trying to say there is like this was what Jamie needed to be more excited about the future. Yeah, and yeah, their dynasty. This is
Mhm.
what he needed.
Yeah.
So, okay.
But let me
Well,
tell you something. I would not want Kyburn as my OBGYN. I'm just gonna throw that out
is
there.
that who she's going to
Well, he
still?
was in there before Jamie talked to her, so that's what the assumption is.
Right. I forgot about that. Nice.
That's what makes me think part of it could be a ruse, because I don't think anything Kyburn does is like above board.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, no, good point.
Like they
That's a
could be
good point.
cooking up some undead baby in her womb. I don't even know.
Right. Or even just like some kind of fake false evidence of pregnancy or something like that.
Yeah, and then the whole prophecy thing from season 4 or 5, I forget which, where the witch that she went to said you will have 3 children. Gold will be their crowns and gold will be their shrouds. And those 3 children have now died, so she can't have any more.
Right. That's a pretty good indication that she is lying.
Yeah.
Or
Or that
that's
the baby won't be born.
right. One piece of evidence that yeah, that baby's never going to be born
Yeah.
or she's lying. Yep.
Yeah.
Hokey doke.
Definitely not going to see that baby. That's for sure.
There's no time. There's no time for babies.
No time.
We don't
So
have time for that.
apparently next week's episode is like 70 minutes long, and then the season finale is like 80 minutes long.
Awesome.
So we're good to go. We've got some really long episodes coming up.
Good. It's like little mini movies.
Yeah, it's like Game of Thrones movies,
I
part
mean, they
one, part two.
used to make movies like an hour 20 minutes.
Yeah, now they're all like 3 hours.
Right. I don't really like that. I think like an hour and a half is solid.
So do I.
Yeah.
2 hours, maybe I'm okay with, but if you go beyond 2 hours, I'm like, oh.
Depends on the movie, but
Although
yeah.
Lord of the Rings, I was glued to that seat for every minute of those movies.
Right, but there's a lot of people who would use that as an example of like, yeah, I hate those movies, they're too long or something, you know.
It's true.
Yeah, but anyways, I think that'll do it for this episode of the podcast. We're gonna jump right into our Alone podcast right after this. So be watching for that. Be sure to follow. Sorry, go ahead.
Sorry, I was just gonna say, if you're looking for something a little more interesting or different, we just recorded our 100th podcast, and it was a crossover between Lost and Survivor, and it was really fun, and it's really long, so you can listen to it, you know, in chunks, but it was fun. You should check it out.
Or if you got a road trip or something,
yeah.
It's and if you're one of those weird people that likes Lost and Survivor, you know,
I think it's a bigger group than you think.
Maybe, yeah. If you like island shows. Yeah, we did that. I didn't realize that was our 100th episode. That was interesting to find out. I mean, very fitting. We didn't even plan that, and
no, we didn't. Worked out though.
That's pretty awesome. So yeah, check that out if you have any interest at all in that. Follow us on Twitter at TV is our real mom, and be sure to like, comment, favorite, and subscribe. And we'll see you guys next time. Have a good one.